Sheen coming back with you with another episode on. I was gone for a while. The last video I made with news and announcements was way March, about halfway in, and you're probably wondering where I have been or what has been going on. Well, overtime stuff going on at my workplace, some other stuff going on where we've been having the kids, the family and stuff over, and it's just been a little bit since I made any videos, and a lot's gone on in the gaming industry as far as news is concerned, which I'm going to cover. And I want to say I think that's important. Sorry that it's been a while, and that's basically what's going on. I want to get into the news a little bit because there has been several stories over the past several weeks that's kind of like broke into the limelight, so to speak. We all are kind of knowing about this. Let's start off with an early one that I watched many YouTube video on, which was Warner Games, not necessarily and associated with Monolith, with the Shadow of War games, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, Lord of the Rings games, which uses the Nemesis system, a very unique system where different orcs, if you get defeated by one, rank up, get more powerful, and actually taunt you if you lose to them and you come back to try to face them again, or you kill them and one takes their place. And it's such a unique and dynamic system that only one other game kind of sort of duplicated that, which was AC Odyssey's mercenary system. One takes the place. The difference is that even though they're named, they didn't do the whole like some of the things Nemesis does. It's not as finessed, but it's basically essentially kind of the same system, which makes sense considering that the Shadow War series and Shadow Mordor actually kind of, even though it has more of the Rocksteady style combat, it does do the aerial assassinations and some things, so it does have a very AC kind of feel at times. So it makes sense that they're kind of taken from each other. But Warner Brothers has decided that they wanted to patent the Nemesis system. They wanted to patent it, and that means no other developers, ladies and gentlemen, no other developers out there can use the Nemesis system. Now, what they're going to basically do is license it out probably and get some money for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And people are going to say, well, why are you on their side? Because Yang Ya wasn't on their side, Angry Joe wasn't on their side, Jim Sterling wasn't. Like, nobody was on their side about doing this, because this whole idea of like, well, these are systems that need to be improved. And then there was God of War, and then there was Bayonetta, then God of War again, and like how other similar combat systems, other first-person shooters, they've kind of always improved upon new ways to play, even if it's similar. And outside of AC Odyssey, yeah, that's it. And the Nemesis system, I say, good for them for patenting that. Now, I'm going to tell you why I disagree with Yang Yao and all those guys. It's because no developer in any way, shape, or form, before and now after the PS5 launch, and the games that we have seen and being coming out in the future, some slated as far as next year, none of them are you trying to use the Nemesis system, because it in many ways would only work in the confines of a third-person action-adventure game. It may work in first-person in some other types of genres, but it's unlikely. Nobody was trying to do this. So I don't see what the uproar is. And the other thing is historically, when another game company uses something similar, even AC Odyssey was like, well, the mercenary system just basically is just a clone of the... Like, they've historically always have been shit on for copying somebody else. So, none of the developers that have brought out games, not even the wonderful Outrider game that I just absolutely love, the demo, that game is fantastic, and that's a whole other video, but no one is trying to use the Nemesis system whatsoever. I say let them patent that, because no one had done it before. Who cares if, you know, oh, well, they need to share the technology, people need to improve upon it, but nobody was going to use it. All these different games announced, folks, wasn't going to use the Nemesis system whatsoever. Nothing announced, which means that those developers, new and old, had no reason to use it, it didn't factor into anything. So let Warner patent it, because nobody was going to use it anyway, and let them sell it to the highest bidder, you know, so they can use it and help them make some money. And I know that seems very crass and against what everybody else thinks should happen. You know, aiming down sights, you can't patent. Uppercutting something in the air and juggling them for a while in a third-person action combat game, you can't really patent that. But the Nemesis system is very specific. And while AC Odyssey uses the mercenary system, and it's similar, it's not as well done, but it's similar, it's very similar. Let Warner do it. Who cares? Because, again, what Yang Yao didn't tell you, what Angry Joe didn't tell you, what Jim Sterling didn't tell you, what the Quartering, what none of these Ackman, none of them told you, and they were all up in arms about, including fans of games in particular, is that none of the developers were going to use it dick all of shit in the first place. Nothing announced I have seen, and I went down the list, is even going to use this system or even planned on it. So who gives a flying titty fuck if they want to patent that and then license it out? No one gave a shit about Unreal Engine being licensed out and sold. Epic makes all the money off that, or at least the bulk of it. But no one was like, well, they can't. That's a patented gaming engine that they sell to people. This isn't much different from that. So people need to get over themselves. I, for one, applaud. Way to go, Warner. And it's not because I'm a fan of the way they handled it. Shadow of War was egregious in its microtransactions and bullshit storefront that they eventually removed because it fucked up the Nemesis system. And Mortal Kombat 11 was really fucked at launch with its 5 or 6 different currencies and everything, and it's still kind of grindy and fucked up. So I don't agree with any of that. But this, I'm okay with. Next up, we have Crystal Dynamics' Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers is going to slow down the leveling because apparently everybody was just getting confused by it, by the skill points, and we want to have meaningful choices in the skill tree, and when you earn a point, you get you know, a more meaningful choice. You're just not going to click on something and just fill up the skill tree. First of all, I have played Marvel Avengers, the entire campaign, and have been grinding the game for a while. And I want to say that with all due respect to Crystal Dynamics and what they are trying to do with the game and slowing the ground after level 25, after March, I think it's 15th or 18th, and Hawkeye shows up, you know, they're going to slow the grind down. It's going to take longer, because before then, every level was the same amount of XP. From level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from 10 to 15, it's all the same experience. Now, they're going to slow it down and make it longer of a grind because they want people to not be confused by leveling, and they want people to have meaningful choices when they make a skill tree. All due respect, Crystal Dynamics, fuck you. Because you done fucked up the game to begin with. I'm still shocked that Hawkeye's even coming out. Kate Bishop was fun to play as, but you know why? She was so fucking OP and so broken that I could just waltz through the game. Even things that were 10 or 15 levels higher than my Kate Bishop, I was just destroying. It was ridiculous, which I think she's been nerfed a little bit now and fixed on different things. But you're going to make us grind even more? Why? And then to sit there and say, well, you better start grinding before this new thing happens if you want to get, you know, all this other... Dude, no. Fuck you. Because you had every opportunity... You had every opportunity to not do this with this game. You wanted to go the live service route. I've said it in another video before. No live service game has been successful. Shit ton of free shit away and free updates and free everything. But let's really look at the console live service games out there. And you know what? No. Didn't work. Fuck you. And Crystal Dynamics, I just don't understand you as a company. Really? And think about this, folks. You're not grinding one character. You got to grind them all. Because as I pointed out in an earlier video about Marvel's Avengers, guess what? If you have a level 50 character and a power level of like 200 or whatever, 150, whatever, that's the max, you try to use that character, it will tell you in the solo play, the offline play, that your other characters are too low to go on the mission. So you have to grind everybody up to that level, or at least 3 other characters of your choice. And eventually, maybe we'll have a really crazy roster. We're supposed to get Black Panther. We're supposed to get Captain Marvel. We're supposed to get Spider-Man. And Spider-Man, by the way, was supposed to be out, didn't they say this month last year? And guess what? We just now getting Hawkeye. They're actually months behind on Hawkeye because Hawkeye was supposed to be released last year and Spider-Man was in March, and now all that's been pushed back, and they're making the grind even more egregious because fuck you and your live service and screw you gamers. We don't give a shit because now the PS5 version's out and you're just fucked. Which brings me to the other live service game that I was really hoping wasn't going to get abandoned, but did. Anthem. We were going to get something called Anthem next. And all the work that BioWare had already put into this game, and they actually had been working on the next update. They actually had stuff ready to launch, but EA and them said scrap the whole motherfucker and concentrate on the Mass Effect remaster and concentrate on the next Dragon Age and the next Mass Effect, and Anthem next is never going to happen. Sorry about your luck. They even let some people go. A lot of people don't know this. They let some people go, and they scrapped all the stuff that had already been done on Next, and guess what, folks? It was about halfway there, a little over that, and we're not going to see the stuff that they added to Next. One of which was we're going to be able to see the loot when we pick it up and equip it in the field. We're not even going to get those cool updates and things that would have brought back some life maybe to the game. And yes, there isn't that many people playing, but I would have liked to have seen some of it come back, but they said, fuck it, we're done, Anthem's a wash. And I should have known. And it's such a shame because the moment-to-moment gunplay in the game and the flying and the stuff you could do and the different javelins was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the kind of like strikes and stuff that you had to do in the game and fighting bosses and flying around. And I still play the game, and I still jump in, and there's usually a handful of people playing, and I usually can get into some games. Sometimes it takes a minute, but it's just a shame because Anthem is one of those games that is excellent, and now that they've said, fuck it, I will put money on it. It will be a matter of weeks, if not a couple months, and they will say, we have decided to shut the servers down for good, and Anthem will never be able to be played again, even though it has an offline mode. No, you still have to be connected to their servers. Fuck you, Anthem players. You're screwed. So between Crystal Dynamics and Square, and who is mainly Crystal Dynamics' fault, and EA's fault, and BioWare, big fat fuck you to both of you for basically making people promising things, over-promising, under-delivering, and you just fucked it all up, and it's just so sad. It's just like, wow, these are games that could have, should have, would have, and didn't do shit, and fell flatter than a plate of piss, as Mr. Cornett would say on his podcast. It's just sad, because and I don't like when people say the potential is there for a great game. How about this? How about giving us a fucking good game from the beginning instead of giving us a little bit of a halfway, half-baked bullshit game, and we'll fix it as we go. Thanks for letting me spend $60 on a title that I pre-ordered on and Marvel and all these games. It's 120 pop right there, and Marvel is basically now fucked, and Anthem now. But mark my words, everybody, that will go away. They're going to shut the servers down. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Other news, you may have heard that Gearbox shuttered the Battleborn servers, and I was sad about this because it's a game that I was still playing. I was playing with bots, mind you, but I was still playing with it and having fun with the game, and I was sad to hear this. Guess what is still playable on the PlayStation? Battleborn. The PC servers are gone, but I can play on Sony servers, and it's still there, and I'm really happy to report that. And I don't know if that's news, but anybody that owns Battleborn and thought they couldn't play it anymore, you still can. Me and the 3 other people who play it on the planet. So just to let you know about that, that's pretty cool. And like I said, these are some of the stories that have come out in the news of late that I've been kind of following, with Marvel's grind getting worse, Anthem being shuttered, and all that kind of thing. And of course the Nemesis system trying to be patented, which I'm all for, because nobody was going to do it in the first place, and nobody was going to try to use the Nemesis system. And like I said, my last video was on January 30th. It's been a while since I made a video, but please check out Unpaid Gamers on YouTube and on Twitch. Check out Posthuman Guy's podcasts and his streams, and check out the man, the myth, the Apex legend, Banlaw, still playing your Apex, giving you those season wins. He don't lose very often. He's a pretty kick-ass player, so check him out. Check out Posthuman Guy, and of course me, the People's Machine. I'm sorry I've been away. I've been gone for a while, but you know what? Sometimes you need a break from some stuff, but I probably took a longer break than I should have. But I am coming back to you right after this video with another video, and we're gonna showcase some games, recent purchases, things like that. And I want to talk about another game that most people probably would pass on from the sports end and would think, why the hell would I want to play this? But there's some reasoning why I think you should play it, because it's really fun. It's actually really fun to watch the sport on YouTube, which is about the only way you can watch it. And we're going to get into that. And of course, like I said, I don't really have any big announcements per se. I just wanted to cover those quick news stories about Marvel's Avengers and about Warner and the Nemesis system. And I wanted to cover Anthem next being shuttered, and just kind of talk about that and throw out the Battleborn thing, because I think that's important. And of course, please please subscribe to and follow the Gaming Round Table by the People's Machine. And that's all I got for you on this news kind of thing. I'll be right back with my next video. Stay tuned, and as always, gamers, good gaming.